There is one particular scam that everyone is conditioned into by the world, but most people can't recognize this scam for what it really is. And this scam goes very deep. And this is a scam that if you are normal, you are healthy. That if you are normal, you are safe. And nothing could be further from the truth. Let me explain. What does normal mean? Normal is the establishment of a norm. A norm is a solidified expectation. What I mean with solidified is an expectation that's guarded with rewards and repercussions, or sometimes punishments. So it's a guarded expectation by a community. So the community solidifies this expectation. That's what a norm is. A norm is to protect a value. There's something the people in a community want, and this desired outcome is what they want to achieve. So to achieve this desired outcome, they establish a norm with rewards and punishments, and they condition the masses to align themselves with that norm. They teach people that the value behind the norm is worth it. And the individual that aligns himself with the norm is considered normal. And because he aligns with the norm, they receive a pat on the back, or they receive signs of approval by the community. That's what normal is. Natural is how you are by nature. For example, that you need to drink water, that you need to eat food, that you need certain vitamins, that's natural. That you need some sleep, certain amounts of hours of the day, that you need fresh air, those things are natural. It's not an established norm, it's just the way a human being functions. So norms can be close to natural if the norms are realistic and practical. But they're still norms, they're not natural. So always separate natural from normal. Why am I making this video? Because a lot of folks want to be normal. And to be normal implies that you align yourself with an established expectation in a community. And an established expectation, or stated with another word, a norm, is to protect a desired outcome. First of all, who wants the outcome? Every outcome that's desired serves a purpose. Without going too deep into it and without becoming philosophical, let me say it like this. Let's say that you have a group of people. Let's say you have a tribe. They live somewhere in the Amazon region in South America. And this tribe, let's go back in time a bit, is in contact with the Portuguese, because the Portuguese settles at the shores of South America. So it happened then that the Portuguese began to trade with these tribes. But some of those Portuguese men carried sexually transmitted diseases with them. So when they made their move on the women of the tribe, those women became sick and they spread the sickness. So what happened after a while, a lot of people in the tribe wanted to avoid sexually transmitted diseases because there's something they never had before. So one of the leaders of that tribe realized, wait a minute, we didn't have these genital infections before until the Portuguese came. So the Portuguese brought it with them. So the people in the tribe agreed, we want healthy genitalia, both for males and females. We don't want any hinder in the sexual relationships of our community, because our community is based on healthy sexual relationships. So what happened? This is the desired outcome, healthy sexual relationships. To guard this, they came with a norm. And the norm was, do not interact with the Portuguese unless necessary, and especially don't seek sexual relationships with them. That was the norm. And another sub-norm was for the women to not get involved with any Portuguese men. Those were norms. And how do they guard those norms? Well, everyone that they caught interacting with the Portuguese without being able to account for it, they were excluded from the community. They didn't receive any food nor any shelter. Some of them were thrown into a dungeon for several days. They didn't receive any sunlight. And if a woman was caught being pregnant by a Portuguese man, she was either executed or she was kept alive, but she was thrown out of the community. She was dumped at some Portuguese settlement. So the rewards and punishments, and the reward was if you only interact with people from the tribe, you will get a higher position or you will be awarded more wealth or more abundance. By the rewards and punishments or repercussions, by the way, there's a difference between a repercussion and punishment. Punishment is when you release frustration on someone, when you dump negative energy. That's punishment. Repercussion is when you take action to guard safety. So you have rewards, punishments, and repercussions. The norm was protected with rewards, punishments, and repercussions. Repercussions by the leaders of the community, punishments by the community itself, and rewards by the leaders and sometimes also the people of the community itself. By doing this, they guarded the desired outcome. That is, that they want to retain healthy sexual relationships. So every individual from that tribe that aligned themselves with the norm was considered normal. In this case, the normal served a natural purpose. That was to keep sexual relationships healthy. And it was obvious that the Portuguese came with sexual transmitted diseases, so you wanted to keep that out. So you see now how normal operates. It's an established expectation to guard a desired outcome. Now a norm can also be destructive. For example, let's say that you have a village somewhere in North America and people there want to be left alone. They just want things to be at ease. They don't want to face any difficulty in life. They just want to be left alone. So everyone collides with one another. So this desire of wanting to be left alone comes with a norm, or with several norms. One of the norms is never mention any serious issues to each other. And there is a second norm: do not bother the community with serious issues. Let's say, for example, that there's an alcoholic father. How did he turn out to be an alcoholic? Well, he numbs emotional pain. Where did the emotional pain come from? Though this upbringing. And people enable his parents. So the community doesn't want to face that they had abusive parents around, because that would mean that they need to take action. So the guy, the alcoholic, decided, I can't mention this to the community because people are not going to help me, people are not going to support me. So to find a way to deal with the pain, I'll just drink a bit. And before he knew it, he was an alcoholic. Him being an alcoholic was normal. Why? Because he aligned himself with the norm. You never challenge the community. The community consists out of individuals who want to be left alone. They don't want to face things in life. And anyone that does mention real life issues is shunned, and in worst cases, they become the target of violence. So this young man knew that if he mentioned that he needed help, mentally and emotionally, that people would turn on him. And he's a man. They would likely blame him, even though he was not to blame. So he coped with it, and his coping was with alcohol. And here's the thing. In the community, the leaders opened many liquor stores so that people can find relief in alcohol. So alcoholism, despite this dysfunction that's harmful to the community, it was normal. So that man marrying, becoming a father and a husband, and being an abusive father and husband, though to alcohol abuse, it was normal. It was something that happened often in the community. Was it right? Should it be condoned? Should it be approved? Should it be promoted? No, but it's normal. But now let's say this man has a daughter, and this daughter may explain that he doesn't take the abusive attitude of her parents. Why? Because her mother chose to remain with that man, even though the man was dangerous. The man was not a little boy anymore. He was a teenager that needed help. He was a grown man that aligned himself with the evil of the community because he himself also didn't want to face anything. He aligned himself with the relief seeking of the community, so he became a perpetrator himself. When he was a little boy and a teenager, he was an easy target for violence, so it's understandable that then you don't go against the expectation of the community. But he was a grown man, he had options, he should have faced that what the community was expecting of him is wrong, and should have sought a way out. He didn't. He just wanted to be relieved. He became just like the people of the community. He integrated into the expectations of the community. That daughter's mother, the wife of that alcoholic father, she enabled this relief seeking, but she also wanted sympathy from the community. So she, let's say the mother of that woman, the mother of that girl, often complained about her husband's misbehavior, but she never left the husband. She was using the dangerous situation to get sympathy from others. So she was narcissistic, and she didn't care how it affected her children. She didn't care that her will to seek relief from both her husband and from the community at the expense of her husband were also harming her offspring. She didn't even consider it. It was all about her. Now, this girl, who was her daughter, decided she doesn't take it. She confronted her parents with their BS. Now, this was not normal. This was considered rude. This was considered an offense by the community. So many of her peers in high school, but she was finishing high school at the time, told her she should be more respectful towards your parents. It doesn't matter that your father's an alcoholic and that your mother is a coward. She has done a lot for you. He has done a lot for you. They will always remain your parents, blah, blah, blah. And were even people saying to her, you need to honor your mother and father. It's written in the Old Testament. It's written in the New Testament. God doesn't like this. You need to show respect. But this girl decided, I don't care about respect. I care about my safety. People want me to be respectful. What about my safety? This man is dangerous. This woman is enabling danger, and she's exploiting me by keeping me in danger so that she can get sympathy from others. And now you have people from the community, or better, the community itself, that enables it. So the community expects me to give in to their norms, but they don't care about my safety? What kind of crappy deal is this? I'm not into this. Her attitude was natural. It was not normal, it was natural. Too many people want to be normal, and they forfeit being natural. Now, they're always natural in the sense that they are human beings, because they can't change their nature, whether they're born again or they are unbelievers. But they forfeit their naturality by not taking heed to their natural instincts. Instead, they repress their natural instincts and they focus on getting approval from society or in seeking relief. I'm telling you right now, being normal is only beneficial if the norms are in line with God's design. If the norms of a community contradict God's will, then that normalcy or that normality is evil. And you should not align yourself with it. If you're a small kid or in your early teens and you don't have many options, then it's understandable that you tolerate it for a while. But the moment you're a bit older, you should examine yourself and unlearn the scam of society. Being normal is not the same as being healthy. Being normal is not the same as being righteous. Absolutely not. Again, normal is an established norm. It's a solidified expectation. Who wants the outcome? Who benefits from the outcome? Let me give an example. There was a time that it was normal for blacks to be killed randomly. Well, it still happens today, but at least today, people recognize it's evil. There was a time you could just dump all your frustrations on a black man or a black woman in some place in the world, due to the transatlantic slave trade. They were considered subhuman. It was normal in that time period for groups of men to kidnap young black boys and to sodomize them, so that they won't have to face their repressed homosexuality and all their other sexual curses. It used to happen a lot. Now, when slavery was abolished and blacks developed their own economy, this couldn't be done that easily anymore, because blacks now were permitted to fight back. They always fought back, but now they were permitted by law to fight back. They often lost in court anyway, but they fought back. So because they fought back, eventually the norm shifted. Now it wasn't normal anymore to kidnap black boys, for white folks to kidnap black boys and sodomize them. It used to happen often during slavery. And that explains much of the mental dysfunction that some black neighborhoods have today. It's a dysfunction of victimization that has been transferred from generation to generation. So understand that back then it was normal. People didn't blame you if you were of a light skin color and you sexually took advantage of a weaker black individual. Today, 2019, if you do that, you'll end up in jail. Even if the individual is black. Even if the judges are a bit racist, but the judge will say, no. Sexual exploitation, we don't take that here. You see now that just because something is normal doesn't mean it's right. Just because something is normal doesn't mean it's beneficial. There are many more norms that believers need to challenge. I don't address worldly people here. Okay? Because worldly people rely on society, which is a collection of fear-based norms. I'm talking to believers now. Challenge the norms you were conditioned into. Because many believers need to be delivered from wrong expectations. This whole thing of respect, especially the thing called respect, examine it. Respect simply means that there is a demand and you give in to that demand. That's what respect is. So if someone has frustration and they associate this frustration with you because they don't want to face it, and they now solidify an expectation of theirs that you need to leave them alone, even though you didn't harm them, you didn't attack them, they just dump their negative energy on you, they dump the frustrations on you, they tell you they don't like you, they don't want to see you around, they make you into an enemy, and now they expect you to give in to their demands to avoid them. So every time they enter a supermarket, you need to leave. So you need to watch out for them. They want to feel relieved by terrifying you. Now, in many places in the world, when someone may explain they don't like you, the society expects you to give in to it, to be respectful, not to bother the individual. This is a norm in many places, in which you appease the one that commits evil so that things won't escalate. Is this natural? No. Natural would be that the community picks the individual, puts him aside and asks him, look, we heard that you targeted John because you don't like him, you can't stand him and all of that. Give an account of it. Why should John put up with your blackmail? So you don't want to face difficulties, so now you target him and he needs to watch out? So you want to control someone else to feel good about yourself? What is this? That would be a natural attitude. But in society, because people often don't want to deal with stuff, they expect you to give in to the demands of evildoers. They call this respect. So if you have a father or a mother or grandparents that are out of line, the community wants to be left alone, so you give in to the expectation of the community by putting up with abuse of your parents, grandparents, and everyone that enables it. That's respect. That's normal in many places, but it's not natural. Remain in line with Christ's design. You can align yourself with norms of a community. There's nothing wrong with that, but challenge those norms. If they are contrary to God's will, or if they are contrary to your natural design, and if those expectations are endangering you, then face them and make plain you don't comply with injustice. Because for you to align yourself with the norm, and the norm is obviously self-destructive, both for the community and for yourself, that is complying with unrighteousness. That is advancing unrighteousness. That is feeding demons. You are called to do God's will. And the people around you must do God's will also, because the earth belongs to the Lord. Anytime a group of people or an individual refuses to align themselves with Christ over and over again, they are saying yes to unrighteousness. They take relief, or as the Bible says, a pleasure in unrighteousness. And such people, they demand you to respect them by giving in to their unrighteous demands. They want you to comply with their unrighteousness when they are at ease. They under no circumstance want to forfeit their relief seeking. They don't want to comply with justice. Well, as I mentioned before, if someone refuses to comply with justice, there will be no amnesty. Okay? Non-compliance with justice means no amnesty. Okay? This whole idea that an individual should receive amnesty without them complying with justice, it's unnatural. And even in the world, it's not normal. But common people often expect you to grant them amnesty so they are at ease at your own expense or at the expense of the community. And churches even advocate this forgive and forget mentality. It's a scam. See it for what it is. Face that you've been scammed. Don't blame yourself, don't beat yourself up, just acknowledge you've been scammed, because that's the first step into deliverance. Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.